Hello YouTube newsletter and survival group subscribers. This is Terrell from Terrell03.com. Today is May 31st, 2018. This is the Black Star Update Report connected to newsletter number 22. This report reads, pardon me, very much like last week's report. And you'll see many of the numbers are almost exactly the same. Seismic event indicators say Earth has passed the peak of the first Earth change uptick period for the 2018 Earth orbit cycle relative to the black star position in the Libra Constellation relative to the Sun. You can get a picture of that where we are in the solar system. Sun, Libra, black star. We're very close to the line between Jupiter and the Sun. We have definitely already passed the black star. Now we're moving towards this 90-degree position that's going to be in the middle of August. Right over here. And if you move this forward to about the 2nd, right here, not May the 2nd, June the 2nd, then you'll notice that you have pretty good alignment with Venus and the Earth at about the same time. You see the moon there? The moon swings around to come in alignment at the same time. We could have a seismic event on the 2nd of June because of this alignment right here. Probably Frank Hoggerbeets will have more information, something like that. We're also right in the triangle between Jupiter and Saturn. So we're moving through right now. So you can see that soon we're going to be passing between Saturn and the Sun. That's where we are in the solar system. Let's come back over here. And looking at the year over year, week 14, nothing in the seismic chart's been changed yet at this time. Pardon me. This, you'll see down below why this 524 is received. Well, you can see we should be between 230 and 270 of the 2.5 to 4 magnitude earthquakes, and we're just almost, we're double that, more than double that. Though the interesting, pardon me, I'm under the weather, not feeling that well. When you go back and look in time, you can see the high number of 6 magnitude earthquakes before we reach that pivot point in 2015. Now, since the black star has slowed leftward movement in the orbit diagram, then Earth moves away from the black star rapidly. Because our orbital velocity, 66,000 miles per hour, is relatively the same as we're going around the Sun. Black star slowing down more means that we come into alignment with it, then just outpace it. And that's what the reason for these lower values that you're seeing right here, because of the pivot point that comes right through here. Pardon me again. Then this Kelly interview, this was from the 29th. This is the most recent interview right here. You might want to check that out. Then this interview's already been done with Kim. That was done on the 15th. She still hasn't sent me the MP3 for finalizing this part of the radio presentations. Then key for understanding last year, 7.9 Papua, then we had all these zeros, and we're doing the same thing. We're about halfway through. When you look at what's going on down here, the same series. So this 7.5 Papua is going to be a tectonic reset for sure. And that's where we got the jolt right here in week 2. And that's one of the reasons that I'm reluctant to make the change. This week 53 looks like that it should be eliminated. So that pushes the 1 up here, and that makes week 12. This was on, see the 5th here that ended this week? This is right at the end of week 11, because this the Hawaii event happened on the 4th. So it's almost into week 12 already. But because when you go back and look at the patterns, you get this jolt in week 2. I'm reluctant to do any moving yet. Even though logic says, and highlighted down here, less than 7 degrees. Whenever you have less than 7 degrees of movement for the black star left in the orbit diagram, then there is no week 53 because it's so close to a calendar year, so close. So imagine if the black star was stationary, then there would be 52 weeks in every cycle. But because of its leftward movement, we've been adding weeks. When you go back in time, you'll see something. Whenever the black star was moving left 12 degrees, we're adding 2 weeks and then taking one away. Well, it looks like we have at least 1 week too many up in here, but Jupiter's influence could be causing these events to take place earlier than expected. So, nothing is going to be changed in the chart. When we get to outside orbit position, then in the middle of August, then we'll be able to know more about what's going on. Maybe there'll be some refinement going on. But this is the reason for this hasn't happened before since the investigation started. 2206 2.54 magnitude earthquakes. And if you go back historically and look, just keep on going back historically and look, then you see when we get the jolts, even when we had the 8.1 Mexico quake, we didn't reach 500. You keep going back, and you keep going back all the way to the beginning, you're never going to see anything like this, which this is related to Hawaii. Happened up here in week 11. So there are things that kind of feel odd for me in this last month. Hawaii, big factor. Hawaii is going to be our near-side-alignment quake event. There's no other possibility. 6.9 was what we reached last cycle. 6.9 as high as we're going to reach on this cycle. And it's going to definitely be Hawaii. You can tell by where we are in the solar system, we've already passed the high water mark. And this is where it was achieved right here with 3 6s. And these values, last year it was 5 6s. Now it's only 3 6s. We still got up to 6.9. But before that, we always had a 7 magnitude earthquake or an 8 magnitude earthquake at the near side alignment. Earth becoming more malleable, the crust becoming more malleable. I've explained that before in previous updates. Then, so here's the problem, the less than 7 degrees, what I just explained to you right there. We have to pay attention to Earth testimony in combination with known factors from the historical evidence. And that places the black star definitely in between the Sun and the Libra Constellation. And we just whirled right by the thing. Then looking at the earthquakes, you see none of the 5 magnitude earthquakes. There's not even one. There was only one last week. Diminishing, that's forecast. Diminishing is that's what you're seeing. Earth core temperature is going down. There is less energy in the deep magma plume formation. There's no more rising horns. We only had 2 deep earthquakes in the last 7 days, like last week. Nothing along quarter 1. The deepest earthquake underneath South America for the last 7 days, 199 kilometers. That's still enough to cause magma upwelling, but there were no new volcanic eruptions along quarter number 2, and there hasn't been. There hasn't been for a little while. Looking on the other side of the planet, we're down to 1 event per day west of Nepal. That's what happens moving through the lull period. This is up to 3 when we're moving between the 2 stars, or behind the Sun relative to the black star. Then there's still some activity down here in Africa. 14 quakes in the last 7 days, 23 in the last 14 days in this same spot right here. Keep your eye on this spot right here. The new volcanic eruption, Reunion Island, that's a month. New volcanic eruptions on Reunion Island every week for the last month. And that coincides with the activity you see here along quarter number 4. It looks like the energy is retreating back to Indonesia. Pretty much the same map that you saw last week. Then new volcanic eruptions, the Hawaiian Island, obviously that's in the news. And you'll notice that a lot of featured articles are going to be focused on Hawaii. Then Central Kamchatka, the pressures never reach the Aleutians on this cycle. I mean, we have continuous eruptions that are going on up there, but the new volcanic eruptions never reach past Kamchatka. Now we're seeing Kamchatka. The projection is that this energy along quarter 1 is going to recess backwards. Let me show you quarter number 1 over here. So the pressure right now along quarter number 1, which is minimal, is here in the Kamchatka region, and now that pressure, which did not make it to Alaska on this cycle, The reason is because there were just insufficient number of deep earthquake events along quarter number 1 and on the Indonesia side that sends energy up this way. The activity was mostly around here on this side. Remember, quarter number 2 is much longer than quarter 1. It reaches all the way across South Pacific and then returns north. So it takes a lot of pounding here to test the terminal end, and we just haven't seen it here. And since after the near side alignment. So with such a small number of deep earthquake events, the magma plume activity disappears completely. That's precisely what you're seeing. If you want to go over to the other side, I mean, this is a dead zone. This is a dead zone of Cascadia. Even though there's a migration north, and I'm suspicious that on the leading edge, you see this is at 10 kilometer, at the 10 kilometer depth here. That's the signature that we've been seeing about for the last month, and it makes me wonder where this terminal, if this is related to terminal end number 2 or terminal end number 1. Don't know. It's a kind of a mystery. After that LA quake, the 5.4, it appears that magma plume, the terminal end of magma plume arm number 2 is much further north than realized, so this appears to be connected to magma plume arm number 2. So that the convergence area is actually a little bit further north than has been projected. It's going to be in Cascadia. Now looking at the other side of the planet, diminishing activity along the mid-Atlantic ridge. We had 5 and 6 of these as we're passing between the two stars. It was down to like 3 last week. Now it's down to just 1. We can see this disappear and see nothing along the mid-Atlantic ridge in the coming weeks. This activity is still holding on. You can see all the activity at this quake swarm area. It reminds you like a small version of Hawaii, even though there's a disconnect between the new volcanic eruption. Reunion Island is actually further to the east, where you're getting the new volcanic eruption just north of Madagascar, right here. But now you're looking at the traditional, typical signature of reduction in earth change activity because the earth core is cooling. It's precisely what we're looking at. Let's get back over here to the newsletter. And then, so this is pretty much the same report that you're looking at. We had 4 new volcanic eruptions last week, 4 last week, 5 the week before that, and then before that, along with the what's going on in Hawaii, we had 8 and 9 new volcanic eruptions, which was predicted, and now we're seeing the downtick. All the numbers are on the downtick, even though you can't quite see it so clearly in the seismic chart. That's because of Kilauea, what's going on there. But you can see it in the 6 magnitude earthquakes, 3 at the alignment, then 2, then 1, then 0. Definitely on the decline. New volcanic eruptions decline right with them. We've obviously passed the black star already. Hawaii is our near side alignment quake event for sure. And there's going to be no changes in the seismic chart because of the way that the jolt came in week 2, just like it was supposed to. Then it was a little bit late on the second jolt. It usually comes in 5, came in week 7. But the pattern is still there. It's still looking like that it's right. Jupiter's influence is making this more difficult. Then project supporters for this week. Nobody subscribed this week. There'll be no complimentary link in the description box of this video. Wayne, Ryan, and Carlos renewed their subscriptions from 2018. John and Patricia received their threat assessment information for joining the USA Survival Group program. Walter, this is going to be your final notice. The email address where I'm sending you notifications is set up in your account as spam. So I'm getting spam error messages every time a new member signs up from your email account. So your name is still on the list, on the group list. Your email address has been removed from the email group list temporarily until you write me and let me know that this email address is not, the settings for your email account are set so that they can receive notifications. Then, like you'll see, then there's Kilauea is dominating the news on this cycle. And up here at the top, well, near the top, then here's Clint's recommended buys for your survival prep. One to include lots of good information. That's in here. Permethrin is added there. Very important to have permethrin. And I would recommend the 10%. You can get it from your do-it-yourself type exterminators. They can say the 10% stuff. And it's rather expensive, but a little bit goes a long way. And that's it for the short report. You guys know where we are in the solar system. You know what the Earth is doing. And we look for, the projection is for reduced activity all the way through to the middle of August. Then we'll determine which is the minimum week. The Earth will be testifying the minimum week, and then we'll put the O in the chart, just like this one right here, and it looks like it's going to come right in the middle of, looks like, see these minimum values that we're looking for? You have 3s before, 2s and 3s after, but this week that you have 0, it kind of identifies itself. Usually, this is a sub 200 value. We got it the week before, so I mean, this is just about right on right here. It looks like it's going to happen just a little bit earlier on this cycle. That's going to give us more information. So when we add the number of weeks between this N, this O, and this N and this O, you see how there are fewer weeks in the beginning, right? So we're going to see if we duplicate that on this cycle, and if adjustments are going to be made, then they're going to be made to the seismic chart data after August, once we have opportunity to hear Earth's testimony moving through outside orbit position. Thank you guys again. Get more information on the website right here, teral03.com, and appreciate your support, and I'll see you on the next Black Star Short Report.